There it is, the long-awaited kink in the corona incidence curve that the British had to wait impatiently for. After a rapid rise in the 7-day incidence, which spanned from the end of May to almost the end of July, the situation has now been looking to ease for 5 days. But appearances could be deceptive. Sajid Javid also knows this, who took over the office of Health Minister a few weeks ago and most recently drew criticism with a statement about corona. Please get vaccinated if you haven't already, while we are all learning to live with the virus instead of cowering away from it, Javid tweeted. The organization COVID-19 Bereaved Families for Justice, which represents relatives of those who died of COVID-19, described the comment as deeply insensitive, as the BBC reported on Sunday. The criticism related mainly to Javid's choice of words. He had used the English word cower, which for me as a German can be translated as duck away or crouch. Words are important, and the carelessness of that statement has caused deep suffering, said the organization's co-founder Joe Goodman. Labour politician David Lammy also criticized Javid and accused him of vilifying people who simply wanted to protect themselves and their families. After all, 129,000 British people died of COVID under the Conservative government. The question that worries many Brits at the moment is, will many new ones soon be added to those dead? This question cannot currently be answered with certainty, mainly because the incidence values are falling again. While the incidence was 502 on July 21st, it has dropped to 403 4 days later. This was shown by figures from the German Tagesspiegel. Between July 20th and 26th, a total of 252,875 people had a positive test result. That is a decrease of 21.5% compared to the previous week. That is based on data from the UK government. But where does the decrease in incidence values come from? And is it permanent, or will the number climb up again soon? The answer to these questions is also not easy. Several influences could act on the curve, and that appearances are deceptive, as the many contagion figures in Britain prove. They are still high. This is an example of the current situation in local public transport. As the German Spiegel reports, transport companies are already cancelling trips or changing timetables. In London, therefore, 2 subway lines did not even run on the weekend. The reason was 300 employees had to stay at home because of corona contacts. Domestic quarantine was ordered. This also applied to those affected who had already been vaccinated twice. The so-called pingdemic, as the British media headlines due to the warning tone of the country's own corona app, brings some industries into problematic situations. Food shelves have already remained empty and garbage cans are in front of the houses and are still full, it's said. One thing is certain, incidences did not fall everywhere in the kingdom on the day on which the incidence curve for the whole of Great Britain was pointing down again. But only for a time in Scotland, while they continued to rise in England, Wales and Northern Ireland. In England, for example, the number of cases did not begin to fall until later. At the height of the third wave on July 17th, the country recorded around 50,000 new cases. 9 days later, the number dropped to around 25,000. Conversely, most Scottish municipalities have seen a decline in positive cases earlier. On July 2nd, the number of cases dropped from around 4,000 to around 1,200 on the July 25th. One reason for the early downward Scottish curve could be that the Scots closed schools earlier. That's what Kit Yates, author and mathematical biologist at the University of Bath, suspects. If the schools are reopened there too, the curve could take a different route again, he speculates. The weather would also play a role in his opinion. In the past few days there were summer temperatures in Great Britain. The sun showed up. That could have resulted in more people getting outside. The aerosols dissipate significantly better there, and the risk of infection is lower. It's not gone, but it's lower. There was also a decrease in the corona tests. A total of 791,000 tests were reported on July 25th. That's 10% fewer than the previous week. And the less that is tested, the fewer positive cases can be registered. The high number of infections, Yates continues, that are still everywhere despite the kink in the curve or the openings associated with Freedom Day that was celebrated last weekend, could have made people more cautious. Another possibility is the holiday season. Many people are in the middle of the summer vacation and therefore cannot be tested on site. A rise in the curve after holidaymakers return cannot therefore be ruled out either. So we are having some interesting weeks ahead of us. And I'll see you in my next video. Bis gleich.